Okay, we're recording. Welcome everybody to our team call for August. We have a very, very special guest, Diamond Ambassador, Miss Sarah Taylor, on with us tonight. And when she asked me, what some speaking points were, I gave her a few, and she goes, "So pretty much just being bold." And I was like, "Yeah, we need your red to rub off on all of us. We need some tips and tricks." So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on speaker view and hand it over to you, Miss Sarah.
Thank you very much. And you guys are so sweet for inviting me on the call. I really appreciate it and hope that I can give some nuggets of wisdom tonight. What I want to share about, Ashley and I went back and forth, and she gave, like she said, she gave me a couple different topics. And at the end of the day, this is one of the topics that I feel like I can really speak well to. And I feel like it's so important and a lot of times overlooked in our day-to-day and kind of put in a box as to what bold is and being bold in our business is. I really, really think that the backbone of success in this business kind of boils down to two different things. Grit, which is probably one of my favorite words. Basically, if you're not familiar with what that word means, it's basically, and this is my own terms, not the Webster's dictionary version. Grit is basically, we're getting some feedback. So grit is basically the overwhelming desire for you to succeed at all costs, no matter what, even on the heels of failure. So it's the dusting yourself off, getting back up, and continuing to try, even though maybe you just fell flat on your face, maybe you just failed, that type of thing. It's just that tenacity and that conviction that you're going to succeed at all costs, no matter what. So I think that one of the huge measures of success in this business does rely kind of on your grit quotient. And so you can learn grit, but what I think grit kind of lies on top of, for lack of a better word, I don't even know what I just said there, but what, grit kind of is layered on top of is your belief in yourself. Because if you don't have belief in yourself and you don't have belief in what you're doing, you are probably going to be one of those glass half empty people, very quick to give up. And I'll tell you what, if you're a glass half empty person, you're going to be very, very thirsty for a very long time. So one of the things, so obviously I wanted to start out by talking a little bit about grit, because I really do think grit and boldness go kind of hand in hand. So when we're talking about being bold in terms of Plexus and our business and, kind of everything that surrounds, it's not just the typical being bold and going out there and cold calling a whole bunch of people, right? Or in the way that you talk about Plexus or anything like that. I truly think that being bold comes from a bunch of different ways, and you can look at it in a bunch of different ways. But one of the biggest things that you have to be bold with is yourself. Starting out from right now, so wipe the slate clean. I want you guys, when you guys get off this call, to sit back and think, okay, what is my purpose in Plexus? Why am I doing this? What is my purpose? What is my end game? And I'll fill you guys in a little bit on what was mine and what was my driving force. Mine was twofold. Some of you guys might know my story a little bit. I'm not going to go through it the whole way. But before I joined Plexus, I had gone through a bunch of deaths in my family. I'd lost my father, we lost our nephew, and then we'd also had a miscarriage. And so it was just kind of boom, boom, boom. One of the things that taught us in a big way was that life isn't guaranteed. And so we always have talked about the fact that, number one, I wanted to stay home with the kids. But number two, we wanted to give our kids the best experiences possible. And we also wanted to give our kids both parents. Okay. So when I started Plexus, I was already a stay-at-home mom. That box had already been checked, but we were really struggling financially, and we were barely getting to that point where I was really able to. We were kind of looking at the fact of maybe I was going to have to go back to work. That's kind of where our lives were at that point. And so Gavin, then the other half of that was I really, really wanted to bring him home. I didn't want him to have to go to work 9 to 5, every week, be away from the kids when they're so young. And that purpose is what drove me through those beginning stages in Plexus, because you're going to have a lot of times where it's easier to say no than to say yes. And what I mean by that is it's easier to not show up to the call. It's easier to not go out and do the hard things that push you outside of your comfort zone. It's easier to make those excuses. But I want you guys to be bold with yourself in the way that you talk to yourself, and say, okay, does this align with my purpose in Plexus? Say I miss this event, say I miss this call, say I don't do this challenge, or say I don't work my business today. Anytime that you're not showing up for your business, there's a closed sign on your door, and you are the CEO of this business. And so you have to kind of look at it in terms of not, okay, this is what is today, a random Wednesday night, and I'm gonna look at doing this call, or I'm gonna look at watching TV. Okay, there's some sacrifice that needs to happen. And if you're sitting there having those conversations with yourself, those excuse conversations, I know we've all even convinced ourselves at times that I really can't do such and so. And it really does become like you're convincing yourself that this is not an excuse, that kind of running dialogue that you have in your head. I want you guys to look at those types of moments and those types of things that are happening in your life, and look at it in terms of your purpose with this business. Okay, so I'll kind of lay it out. Mine was to bring my husband home and to give my kids a better life where we weren't counting pennies, right? So anytime that I had a struggle in my business, which was a lot, I know from the outside looking in, sometimes it looks like these diamonds just shot up, but they don't. There's a lot of hard work and effort that goes on behind the scenes. And any time that one of those horrible, rough days happened, or I just didn't feel like doing it, I just felt kind of like throwing in the towel, felt like quitting multiple times, I always came back to the fact of that my purpose in this is so much more important than right now, than that TV show, than me doing whatever else it is, than me going out to dinner, or me, skipping whatever it is. You have to look at it in terms of your purpose. And that can even boil down to the whole I don't have time excuse. Be bold with yourself and say, you do have time. You make time for the things that you feel are important. Everybody has time to do this. There are 24 usable hours in a day. Granted, we all need sleep, but at the same time, it's about priorities, and it's about having that bold conversation with yourself and that realistic conversation with yourself that this is what's important to you. This business is. So it's recognizing those excuses and having the gumption to talk yourself into doing the hard work, to talk yourself into doing it for your purpose. Drive your business forward based on your purpose, the reason that you're here and the reason that you're pushing, and always keep that front and center. Make every decision in Plexus and in this based upon that purpose. So the other half of being bold with yourself is being bold in your belief. So kind of recognizing the fact that where is my belief right now? And am I convicted in knowing that, my belief in myself is there? I know that Ashley is going to make it to Diamond, or I know that Mel's going to make it to Diamond, or, whatever that looks like. Do you have that grit and that belief in yourself and that boldness with yourself that, yes, you are doing this no matter what? Or is that wavering? And if it's wavering, how can you fix that? How can you work on yourself and the aspects and gain your confidence in that? What I find a lot in that is that boils down to personal development and just getting out there and doing. Anytime I feel like I'm stuck in a rut, Number one, learning more helps, because you cannot keep doing the same thing day in, day out and expecting a different outcome. So if what you're doing right now isn't working, go back to the drawing board. It's okay. Go talk to other people. Seek out more information. There's tons of training on YouTube and tons of information that you can get to change the way that you're running your business. Don't think that there's only one way to the top. My way may not work for Ashley. My way may not work for Carolyn. You know, that's just, you've got to find your own way in this and keep moving and keep growing until you do. Now, then there's different aspects to that as well. It's learning the products, learning the business, your belief in yourself, your belief in your business knowledge, your belief in your product knowledge, your conviction that everybody in the world needs these products. If that is not where you're at with this business and with these products and this business opportunity, everybody needs this business opportunity, and this is the way to get, you know, your goals met, then you need to work on that belief, and that's okay. I didn't come to Plexus with the same belief that I have today. It evolved over time, and it was something that I constantly worked at. I showed up to every event that I could possibly go to, and each one of those events adds a little bit of layer of belief. The more people that you meet in person, the more calls you guys get onto, just like this, adds those layers of belief. And nobody can shake that once that conviction and that belief is there. And in every conversation that you have in Plexus, that belief shines through. Whether you're talking to a customer, whether you're talking to a potential or a team member, no matter what, that belief or lack of, it comes through in that conversation. It comes through in the way that you talk, your wording, your enthusiasm, absolutely everything that you do comes through when your belief is like, it shows like it's your skin, you know? And so definitely work on that and have that bold conversation with yourself, assessing where your belief is right now. And if you need to fix it, work on that first. That has got to be the first step, because if you don't believe that this company is right for you, if you don't believe that these products are the most amazing products that everybody needs, or if you don't believe that our corporate office is going to be around for years and years to come, or that our compensation plan is the best out there and can help other people, those are the things that you need to go and do some personal development on. So, of course, we can't talk about being bold without talking about being bold in promoting the products and the business and everything like that. So being bold in promoting isn't just cold call, although that's part of it, you know, reaching out to somebody that you have never spoken about Plexus before. Being bold also comes in your verbiage and the conviction that you have, the marketing that you're doing, you're not kind of dipping your toes in and having a lukewarm, you know, discussion about Plexus. You're fired up. You think that this is going to be the thing that changes their life. You know, having that type of a conversation versus, yeah, I think you like Slim. It tastes pretty good. It's like a cherry Tootsie Roll, you know, or I guess not a cherry Tootsie Roll anymore, watermelon. But, you know, it's having that type of a different conversation, and laying your conviction out there and laying your boldness out there to say, this is going to be the thing that changes your life. Your belief and your passion as you're speaking transfers to everybody that you're listening to. So not only, or that's listening to you, sorry. So not only that, not only in your marketing of Plexus, but your boldness has to come in your closing the deal and your follow-up and those hard things that, you know, sometimes we kind of avoid because, you know, they're the hard things. They're the things that push us outside of our comfort zone. But that boldness and following up is led by your belief. I really think that your belief is like the gas in the car. Without it, you can't move. You may type it all into the GPS and, you know, Diamond is your destination. But if you don't have that belief, that car is going nowhere. So think about that as you're doing your follow-up, as you're trying to close the deal with everybody. Think about what this is going to mean to them. They don't know what they're saying no to. They don't know that, but you do. So you have to become their pillar of belief. You have to become the yes. You have the power to change the no's to yeses based on your words and based on your activity and based on the verbiage that you use and the enthusiasm that you use. So definitely think that boldness in promoting is a huge, 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 huge deal. And you can change that pretty quickly. You can change the way that you talk to people very, very quickly, and the conviction that you have very, very quickly via that belief that we talked about in the beginning. So I also think that it's important to have, so say you're at the point in your business where you have a whole bunch of customers or a whole bunch of ambassadors, and you are doing the troubleshooting. You guys, when somebody comes to you, and it's going to happen, it always does because of the nature of our products. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, I really think Plexus gave me cancer, or, something off the wall like that. You have got to have the boldness and the conviction to say, no, that's not true. You don't need to be like, oh no, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let's get your 60-day money back guarantee going. Okay. That's not, and that's a totally outlandish example, but you guys, those kinds of things have absolutely happened, and people will say that, and you've got to have the conviction and the wherewithal to, number one, troubleshoot with them if they need troubleshooting on the products, and you can pour that belief right into them during those troubleshooting conversations. You can be their pillar of belief because you can say, no. Okay, yes, you're having, digestive issues due to die-off. You're having migraines. You're having yeast infections. All the things that kind of come with die-off. That's okay. That means these products are working. That means we just need to ease you through die-off is all. So alleviate their concerns. Be bold that this is still going to work, and the reason that this is happening to you is because the products are working. You aren't just taking placebo sugar pills or anything like that. You are moving towards your results that we talked about in the beginning. So it's being that bold person to troubleshoot in the face of, I kind of want to quit these products. These people came to you for a reason. They came to you for results, and it's our job to get them results and to help them fight through it. It is much easier for each one of us to say, I'm going to eat that cupcake, than it is to say, I'm going to go to the gym. Okay, it's the same thing with the products. They've got to take them, they've got to believe in them, and they've got to, you've got to be that bold coach for them to say, hey, the trainer that gets on their back about, no, we're going to keep doing this, but we're just going to tweak some things for you to make it work for you. And then one of the tougher things is being bold with your team. As we sign up for Plexus, and as soon as we have one ambassador underneath us, we become a leader. And so as a leader, we have to be very, very bold with our team in coaching, in training, in teaching them the basics of this business, and being their pillar of belief when they first start. Because like I said, not everybody has the belief that we do in this business and these products in the beginning. So you have to be that bold business coach for them. You have to be that bold Plexus coach, basically, in all things Plexus, and have those hard conversations with them, have those coaching conversations, have kind of the things that we don't really necessarily want to talk about to help grow them. I will tell you guys, one of the most amazing things that has come from this journey has been watching my really close friends that I knew previous to Plexus grow and evolve and change throughout this Plexus journey and become such stronger versions of themselves. And that's our job as leaders. And that's one of the coolest things that we get to do as leaders in this business, is to help other people become better versions of themselves, better versions from a product standpoint, losing weight, getting stronger, getting healthier, that type of thing, but then better versions from a self-development standpoint as well. We get to be the person holding their hand and walking them through this journey, and coming out on the other end as something that helped change them, somebody that helped change them. So being bold to your team members is so, so, so key, and setting those expectations and not letting them quit, not letting them throw in the towel, talking them through it, and being that person that drives them and pushes them through the times when grit is really, really called for. And the last thing that I'm going to end with, and this has been kind of one of my biggest things lately, and I know Ashley has I've specifically talked to her about it before, is that as we approach each end of the month in Plexus, and we look and see, okay, last month versus this month, we look at our teams, we look at our customer list, and we see people that have ordered last month but have not ordered this month. This is one of the biggest keys in Plexus. This is one of the biggest things that impacts relationships. It impacts your business results, but your friendships and everything. If you have somebody that ordered last month and it did not order this month, and you are letting fear of what they're going to tell you make you not reach out to them, that is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. Because imagine, okay, so I sign up for Plexus, and I take it for 3 months, and I'm signed up under Jamie Mays, my upline sponsor. Say I've been loving it the first 2 months, and then my 3rd month, something happens. I gain a whole bunch of weight, my sweet cravings come back, I can't afford it for some reason, whatever myriad of things that happens causes me to not purchase it that next month, and she never even bothers to check in on me, to follow up with me, to see what's happening. She has just given me a very clear-cut indication that I was very insignificant to her. My results that she originally promised me, and whether it's business results, whether it's product results, everything, my results that she originally had promised to help me with, she didn't even bother to check in on me when I quit. That's a big deal. And that's one of those things that's a very pivotal moment in each person's journey. That's the moment that says, okay, I really was insignificant to her as a part of her business. Or you can flip side that and check in with them and have those hard conversations, find out what's going on. Maybe they forgot to order, and all of those things. But to be that final coach to them, if they are quitting, okay, walk them through that, thank them so much for their business, everything like that. It is our responsibility to completely control ownership of who we bring into this business and their results and their experience with Plexus, and make them feel extremely important. So I think that's one of the things I've been talking to a lot with my level ones and my leaders about, how to really, really provide customer service even when somebody seems to be kind of petering out of this business or petering out of ordering. So that's all I had. Looks like I almost talked for 30 minutes already. So
No,
did you guys have any questions or anything?
I told them to get their questions ready. So you guys can unmute yourselves and ask questions if you like. They know what I like. I like when they ask questions.
I actually had some questions, and you kind of already answered some of them. Like, I was going to ask about when people just suddenly stop ordering, and specifically because of financial reasons. I've pretty much had all of my ambassadors do this to me, and I'm just trying to figure out, I am reaching out to them. What do you say when they say, I just flat out can't afford it right now?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, because I'm trying to get them to start with the business to go silver and everything, but they're like, I can't even order it in the meantime to be able to sign people.
Right.
So it's frustrating.
Well, I think one of the biggest things there, and this was probably something I should have brought up during this boldness discussion, is being bold and leading with the business. That's one of the single biggest things that I think, gave me a lot of early success in Plexus. Oh my goodness. And the reason is when you lead with the business and the products, I mean, you're talking to them about both things, they're going to fall back on the products, but those seeds are going to be planted for the business from there on out. And so when it comes to a situation like that, that's when you can bring back up and say, hey, you know what? They don't need to order. They can get one customer and they're commission qualified, and then they can start signing tons of ambassadors. They can get to 500 PV, and guess what? They're making, $100 really, really easily. So just a couple customers and a couple ambassadors could really change it, but it does kind of go back to those initial conversations in Plexus. And now, or when you're first talking to them. And the other side of that is, if say you're in the scenario where you're at now, where, they are like, I don't even know what to do about this business. Like I'm not, ask them to get on the phone. And that's one of the biggest things. I think they need to hear your heart and need to say, hey, I'm going to help you be able to afford these because I know you need these. And I know that you really desperately need the products. And I know they're going to be so good for you. So let's just figure out how you can start affording them. And then they don't have to be buying the whole triplex. If they've got a customer or something, they can start back on the ProBio 5 or the X Factor or the Ease or whatever they need for them. That's, a different conversation too.
Okay, good. That's actually something that I just told one of my girls, that she doesn't have to be on everything, if she can start back little by little. But I did not realize, I wasn't thinking about if she just had a preferred customer or two.
Yeah.
That would help her to be able to start signing people.
And even on that,
that's why we try to get an accountability partner immediately for every person we sign and get them a preferred customer because then they're immediately commission qualified.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And if their first person is a preferred customer, say they order triplex, which gets them commission qualified, then they get $20 too in their check because it's a preferred customer bonus right away. So those little things then add up to them being able to cover their products with just their Paylution money, Yeah.
So when you're reaching out to somebody and they automatically are like, oh, I haven't heard of Plexus, tell me about it, but I don't have any money. And I want to be like, well, I can help you, but that's where my boldness, I can tell you, is like, I'm so yellow.
Also, those people have money for what they want to spend money on, because that person just went to the store and bought a new pair of shorts or, whatever. They will have money with what you build value to. You have to make them realize that they need these and can't live without these products. So that's where that yellow has to, you have to embrace your inner red and be like, that's the belief and the conviction of this will change your life.
So can I come back to these women and say, look, I know that you don't think you can afford it, but because I was really just reaching out with the basic thing that Ashley we had talked about not too long ago, just a really simple little 3-4 sentence thing. Have you even heard of Plexus? So we haven't even gotten into the fact, what is it? So you don't know, you're just automatically telling me I don't have money. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you why you need it and how I can help you. And I noticed in 3-way chats that a friend of mine was doing, that she was putting in the vices and, hey, these are what I took out. So I'm starting to do that on my own with these people, but it's like I'm shut down right away. And it's that boldness of going, I can push past this, oh Lord.
Yeah, but they're not saying no.
And you can always use the felt to be like, you know what? I felt like I couldn't afford these products when I first started too. But what I found out is that I'm actually saving money by taking them and, going through it like that and being like, would you like to hear more? And if they're still like, no, there's going to be some people that when you reach out to them like that, you've just planted a seed and now your marketing on Facebook might attract them in. You've just had that initial first conversation with them. I still have people signing up. I've been in this 3.5 years. I still have people signing up that I cold called week 1, and you never know how long it's timing. It is their timing. And they could have just left the bank from paying off, or getting the news that they had this crazy credit card bill, and they may be in total panic mode. You just never know, when you're catching somebody, what's happening in their world. But it's continuing that conversation with them too. And I love the felt down method.
Anybody else have a question?
I've got one. When I first started, I was one of those people that was, when someone would try to quit on me, I would be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Like exactly what you were talking about. So now that I'm starting to feel a little bit bolder in my business, with kind of helping to prevent people quit on me, how can I reach back out to those people that initially quit when I had kind of just got started with the business?
So what I always do is I always follow my own sword, and I say, you know what, when I first got started in this business, I'm going to be really honest with you. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I really have learned so much more since you started taking the products, and I feel so much better equipped to be able to support you and get you the results, and I name off the results that you originally or their goals, that you originally came here for. And would you be willing to give me another shot? And instead of saying the product, say, would you be willing to give me another shot? Because then that's a hard thing to say no to. That's saying, no, Sarah, I'm not willing to give you another shot, and it's, and at least opens the door to the conversation. But I've had a lot of people start back up too, because we don't know what we don't know in the beginning.
You see that one, Sarah?
Kelly, I saw one in the chat, sorry.
Yep. How did you overcome the fear of sharing the business side publicly, like on Facebook?
I also got one privately as well. So I'll do the publicly, fear of sharing publicly. You know what? So I'll give you a background. When I first started this, I had a really bad taste in my mouth about network marketing, and I really thought it was a scam. And it took me a little bit publicly to start sharing the business. And it was after that first check that I got, because I really, even though like I was kind of calculating through that first month of what, I thought I was going to make. And when that check actually came and I actually did get paid and I wasn't losing money, I was all in, because my mentality about network marketing was I was going to end up with a closet full of inventory that I didn't need and couldn't sell, and I was going to go into debt, which was the last thing that we needed. My husband was a financial advisor, so in our own weird way, we had this strange, we were kind of embarrassed that we were doing network marketing based on his job position and the type of clientele that he was dealing with. And so all of it kind of went together. But when I got that first paycheck, both of us realized what this could mean for us. And that's when it all kind of went out the window. I was like, you know what? I'm making money at this. I'm contributing to my family. I'm staying home with my kids. And there's no way I could have made this kind of money and spent the amount of hours I did with my kids this past month. So other people need this, because money, my husband was a financial advisor. He talked to people all the time, and it was so devastating. They were in their 80s and they were still having to work because they never put away anything for retirement. Not intentionally, but life happens, and they didn't end up, emergency stuff, health stuff came up, everything came up to where they ended up having to work through their 80s. Gavin's mom right now is the same way. She's 84 and she's still working, or not 84. Oh my gosh, 64. She's going to kill me. Don't post this anywhere. She's still working, and she doesn't have this end plan. She doesn't have oh, I'm retiring in 2 years. She doesn't have an ability to do that. And so, there's so many people like that where they're laying their head down on their pillow at night, just desperate for some kind of margin. And this is a big deal. Even $100 is a big deal for a lot of people. We were there before. So somebody was asking me about the importance of events and showing up to events. And that is one of those things where you kind of have to jump in full force and just go to one your first time. I think that actually changed everything for me. Attending my first, it was I had joined just a week previous, and Alec Clark came to town on the Opportunity of a Lifetime tour, and I drove 45 minutes to downtown Houston. My upline was not going, and I just decided, I just signed up for this company. I kind of want to know what it's all about, because I'm so lost and I don't know what's happening. What did I just sign up for? Who am I representing? And the CMO was coming to town, so I thought that was a great, time. He was a CMO at that point in time. So I thought that was a great time to kind of learn about it. And I am so grateful that I went to that event, because that changed my entire viewpoint. And it went back to that belief, that intangible belief that comes through. I left that event on fire. And there was no way that you could keep me from going to the next event and the next event. And that really shaped my passion and my desire to go to the top in this company. And it shaped also my viewpoint of what these products were capable of. Because at that point, I thought they were weight loss. And when I went to that meeting, I realized that they were so much more. And you guys don't have to actually go to meetings, drive 45 minutes, that kind of thing. We have a happy hour every Thursday. And you guys just show up and listen to those 3 testimonies. Those types of things will just completely change your core belief in this company and just completely change every conversation that you have going forward. So I cannot events are so incredibly valuable.
Hey, I have a question. So when you initially reach out to people and they don't respond to you, how do you follow up with those people? Like, how much time do you give it? That's kind of a difficult thing for me, because I've got so many people that are like, hey, I'm interested. And then you tell them, and then they freeze and they don't say anything else.
So I have my list of potentials that I keep right here. And it's right by my list of 63. I don't know if you guys can see that. But it's right by my computer. And every time I go to make a post, I have little notes next to each name, like when I contacted them last. I kind of know in my head, where we're at with each person. But I make posts specific to draw those people in, because those are the people I want on my team. And so I'm thinking, okay, how can I market to so-and-so? And I look at the little, who's online right now, who could possibly see my post, who's got the little green dot, and they're actively on Facebook when I'm posting. And I kind of do it based on that. And so I'm really posting with a purpose. I'm marketing with a purpose. And there's no set time frame. It all is dependent on the relationship of the person. I'll reach back out to them and be like, hey girl, I was thinking about you because I know that you're dealing with thyroid, and one of my best friends just got some incredible results on Plexus with issues that you similarly have, or what have you. And I asked them, would you mind if I sent her story to you, because I think that this could really be the thing that changes everything for you. And just making it personal. Stories sell. Facts just tell part of the story, but stories and personal experiences are what are going to sell these products. So kind of relating to them on that level is really huge.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Where do we begin with personal growth? What's your best advice for a complete introvert who wants to gain confidence?
Look up
together.
What?
So those kind of go together.
Let me see. So personal growth, when we're struggling with the business, I would really start with belief. So have that bold conversation with yourself and think, okay, why am I struggling with the business right now? Where is my struggle? Is it from a sales perspective? Am I having issues relating to people? Do I need to go revisit The Color Personalities and read that book by Al Schreider? Do I need to go and brush up on my Plexus belief? Do I need to go watch a whole bunch of testimonies? Do I have lack of belief in myself? Do I need to go read a leadership book? There's no one place to start with all of that, other than you've got to become very self-aware of where you're struggling in the business, where you're struggling from a personal standpoint. And I think that, those are the biggest keys. And then you've got to also be realistic with yourself. You guys, I'm one that will pick up a book and read it halfway through, and then I'll move on to the next one. I have like 6 books that are not open. But if I do a book study with a couple groups of people or a couple of my friends or running mates, it forces me to read it the whole way through. Alternatively, videos I'm much more likely to watch a video. Sit down and watch a video, turn it on in the bathtub, and relax and listen to a video in the bathtub, much more so than reading a book. So you've got to know your own kind of personal learning style too. But start with that honest conversation. And then it said, what is your best advice for someone who's a complete introvert and really wants to gain confidence and be more bold? So I personally think that Jessica Heffley is, all of her videos, she is such an introvert. She is such a good businesswoman, but she is crazy introverted. And I actually did the Rank Up Roadmap project with her, and it was really neat to kind of listen. Like, she does affirmations each day, but she's got a ton of videos that you might want to just follow her on YouTube. I mean, I know she's not the end all be all, but she is such a good example of somebody who was a crazy introvert that made it to the top of the company, and not only made it to the top of the company, she's like the top of the top. Mm-hmm. She is one of the really key players in this company. And so that was Jessica Heffley, in case you guys didn't catch the name. But as far as just gaining, it still kind of goes back to, okay, well, why are you not confident in this? So why are you not, what aspects of this are giving you pause, and fixing that? But you have to take kind of ownership, and you have to put the feet to it. You can't just say, okay, well, my leadership or my ability to talk to people and not know how to connect with them. Okay, I'm aware that that's my issue, but then you have to go take ownership of that and pick up the resources to kind of help with that. And there's a bunch of resources that I love specifically. I mean, I love the color personalities for learning how to talk to people, but then how to gain friends and influence people is a huge one too. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of those where it teaches you how to connect with people, and teaches you to get them talking so that you can even know how to sell to them, that type of thing. So those are 2 really big ones if it's like a sales issue that you're having. And then
the last one.
What was the book? How to Gain Friends
and Influence People.
And Influence
People.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, it was written in, I think, the 70s, but gosh, it's good. I think we read it in business school too. Just funny. Okay, did I miss any?
I was going to ask about sharing the business and getting business builders. That was kind of answered, though more on sniffing out the business builders would be great.
Okay, so one of the big things is the more you talk about the business, so what you put out there is what you're going to attract in. If you're constantly talking about the products, you're going to attract a whole bunch of product users. If you're talking about the business, you're going to attract business-minded people. And so you've got to have a good balance of that, because of course you want both, and great product users may turn into incredible business people. So you can never discount anybody, but you have to be aware of the power of what you're putting out there and how that's going to bring in specific people. You're going to attract like-minded people. You're going to attract people that are like yourself, that type of thing. So the more you talk about it, the more it's going to come in. But then, of course, being bold and talking to every single person that ever comes across your path about the business opportunity as well as the products, that's a game changer.
I think it's been a catch-22 for myself, because I'm not talking about the business as much because I've had like 0 success compared to like what and so it
but there's things that you like about it and you love about it.
Yeah.
And you have people around you that have good business testimonies.
Mm-hmm. It's just, I'm so blue yellow and I just...
Well, and what I'll say about that is you are having success. You don't owe Plex's money.
It's true.
You are not going to the poorhouse and racking up credit card debt because you're taking Plex's. And that's the thing. So you are having business success. There's a lot of misnomers out there about the business and about network marketing in general, because there are a lot of bad companies out there, to be quite frank. And so people really have some hesitation, but the more that you talk about it, the more, you might not have had business, what you consider your business success so far, but other people are going to consider that a business success. You've brought people into the company. That's a success. You have, X amount of people on your team. You have customers. You have, you're getting interest. And so that is a success right there. And so you've just got to look for those little things, and you've got to talk about them. I remember when I signed my first ambassador, I posted about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I got my first ambassador. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a fun journey with her. And then that whole first month, I kind of did it, and it snowballed, because I went silver that month. And then, I got to say, oh my gosh, I have 3 people on my team now. But I was talking about it on Facebook in addition to the products. And so people were like, oh my gosh, well, she's got other people joining her. Maybe I should too,
Absolutely. I always say, talk about your business like you do your children. It's part of your family.
Woo! Sorry. I have a question.
All right, then we have to let Sarah go.
Okay, this will be really quick. Okay, any books that you suggest that are kind of like business-minded books? Because I'm not a business person.
Yeah.
Business-minded in what sense? Because there's about 1 million business books. Are you talking about leadership, sales?
I don't know, to be honest. I just don't know anything about business, but I really want this to work, and I want to grow my business. And so whatever I need to make that happen, whether to be learn about sales or leadership, whatever the most important thing is, I don't know.
I would start with a network marketing book, like learning the business of network marketing, because that's the business that we're in. So a Rock Your Network Marketing Business by Sarah Robbins is really good. The 4-Year Career, Millionaire by Halftime is, I've heard so many good things about it. I have not personally read that specific one, but people swear by it. It's by Presley Swaggerty. And then as far as just business in general outside of that, I would get the 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell.
We're reading that right now.
Oh, good.
As a book club.
Good. There you go. And then I love that one. And then the 21 Laws of Leadership for Leadership. I think that's the 21 Laws of Leadership is an easy read. And I think it's one of the most basic leadership books that you can get that just makes all these light bulb moments go off in your head if you're trying to figure out how to lead people when you've never led people before, which a lot of us, myself included, that's where we were at when we came to Plexus. We've never been a leader before. So doesn't mean we can't. We just have to learn about it.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
John C. Maxwell says, if you grow yourself, you'll grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of that.
Never stop learning. Never think you have arrived. That's the biggest mistake. Never think you arrived.
That's true. Oh, Sarah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. We could talk to you all night, but you're like, you gotta get to a football game, so we gotta get you back.
No
thank
problem.
you so much for being here with us tonight. We really enjoyed having you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thank
you so much. Bye, everyone.